So this Project Veritas situation is getting more and more wild as time goes on. As we find out more information, we find out that this really is a mutiny. This really is a coup against James O'Keefe to take down Project Veritas from the inside out. It's pretty wild. We have some insiders who have been bringing us some brand new information about the whole situation. This one from Old Rose Swig. It says Project Veritas coup. A whistleblower has contacted me about the news that James O'Keefe was put on leave and stripped of all authority at Project Veritas. This is difficult for me to publish as a staunch supporter of Project Veritas for years and even a VIP at their events. But what is happening to James O'Keefe is unconscionable, and the attempted hostile takeover of Project Veritas needs to be stood against by its supporters. This will not stand. And it feels like this is the sentiment of most people on social media. This is the sentiment of most people on Twitter, that James O'Keefe is Project Veritas. I see a ton of people saying that. Like, that you can't get rid of James O'Keefe and expect there to still be a Project Veritas, because so many people, you know, they praise James O'Keefe. They look at James O'Keefe as Project Veritas, not just because he's the founder, but because he's created something that they've been fiending for, man. There's so many people out there, you know, so many different journalism companies, so many different journalists, I guess you could call them. They're not really journalists though, because they all have an agenda. The only agenda, and this might be personal bias, but the only agenda that I see from Project Veritas is them seeking truth. And there's such a void for that. There's such a need, a hunger for that, for an actual journalism company who's out there simply to seek truth. And Project Veritas had that. And even though they're censored on every single website, they're censored on every single search engine, they're still going viral whenever they drop stories, because people need this stuff. People are searching for this stuff. People are seeking them out every single time they drop a story. There's a reason why Project Veritas is so successful. And if you get rid of James O'Keefe, you're going to get rid of the success as well. So hopefully the board members can see that and they reverse this. But it does seem like it's a mutiny, and it's getting pretty insane as more and more information comes out. Let's check it out. James is a bit of a victim of poor corporate structure, as PV is two separate orgs at 501(c), which had very few board members and the majority of the money, and the 501c4, which had significantly more board members but less money. According to my source, the situation has allowed two alleged ringleaders of this attempt to push James out to have significant sway over the others, despite their reasons to be essentially meritless. Board members and C-suite officers involved in this, according to my source, are as follows. Board member Matt Tierman, ringleader. John Garvey, George Skakel, Joseph Barton, not the congressman, Steve Allenbick, CFO Tom O'Hara, and COO Barry Hinckley. Ringleaders, pronouns in bio. Yeah. How are you going to hire someone with pronouns in their bio to work at Project Veritas? What a dumb hire. Anyway, but I also know that there's someone who recently got hired, I think it was like 6 months ago or something, that worked at CNN previously. So that should have been a red flag right there, that something was going to happen in the future, because you don't hire CNN employees and expect them to be okay with you seeking truth and exposing Pfizer and exposing election fraud and all that stuff. You just don't. They're not okay with that kind of thing. They don't want the truth. The board held a 6.5-hour struggle session versus James, where they subjected him to derision and insults. At the insistence of Tierman, O'Hara, and Hinckley, about 10 employees aired their grievances about James, which essentially boiled down to him being a tough boss to work for. At the end of the 6-hour struggle session, Tierman and fellow board member John Garvey put him on leave and stripped him of all authority. It was literally a Stalin-esque kangaroo court trial. The thing is so very profound to me that no one seems to grasp. John Garvey and the rest of the board did nothing to stop it. Matt Tierman had it all scripted, all 6 effing hours. This comes in the immediate aftermath of Project Veritas' greatest moment ever, exposing corruption at Pfizer, which my source thought that was extremely suspicious timing. You boot the founder right after your biggest win of all time. PV must explain this situation. My source believes that with enough public support, James O'Keefe could win back support of the 501c board, or C4 board, sorry. So please retweet and voice your support in a positive way. James O'Keefe has done more to expose corporate corruption than almost any journalist in modern history. That's the truth. There's no debating that. He might have done more already than anybody else in modern history. And I don't think they were even close to done. I think they were going to keep going and exposing. You know, it just seems like every time Project Veritas drops a story, it's more and more mind-blowing on what they just did. You know, that Pfizer thing, the lengths that they went to get that story, the lengths that they went to get that information that they got, That's some dedication, man. That's dedication to seeking truth as well, which, like I said, people are absolutely starved for. If James O'Keefe leaves, I will no longer support Project Veritas and will support whichever venture he starts instead. My source said that the rank and file employees are still with James. The board needs to realize Project Veritas will likely not survive if they go through with this. I woke up to 1.3. Okay, so that was a great thread from Old Rose Swig. And I think that most people share his sentiment as well. If James O'Keefe leaves, I will no longer support Project Veritas. I feel like that's most people who are fans of them. And I don't think there would be much to support, to be honest with you, because I don't think it will be even close to the same if James O'Keefe leaves. I don't think they will be as close to their only agenda being, you know, the truth. They're not going to ever get close to that again with CNN employees, pronouns, and bio people. I also see people saying that if James O'Keefe doesn't return to Project Veritas, that he could be the new Twitter CEO, which it would be funny. You know, it would be, you know, funny to see the SJWs crying on Twitter, but I don't think Twitter is a good spot for him. I don't trust Elon. I think that he belongs at Project Veritas, man. He is Project Veritas. 4 months ago, Project Veritas hired 56-year-old Barry Hinckley to serve as chief strategy officer. Hinckley wrote an email to Project Veritas staff claiming he had stood up to a bully and had lost his job as a result. Barry Hinckley is the heir to the Hinckley Yachts family, a failed Senate candidate from Rhode Island, the CEO of a failed company that called itself Airbnb of private house parties. Why did he attack James O'Keefe in just 4 months? Barry Hinckley, desperate for fame and fortune, recorded himself asking Miss Bridget Beer to marry him. Hopefully he's better at strategy than singing. We're not going to watch that just for the sake of time. Barry Hinckley recruited 11 under Project Veritas employees to sign a letter declaring James O'Keefe a power-drunk tyrant, which he presumably sent to PV's board of directors in an effort to oust him from the company. I guess we'll see if that's true, if whenever, because this thing it's going to get wild. You know, it's going to get a lot more wild than it is now. We're just seeing the information come out. Once it reaches the masses, that's when it's really going to get wild. And we'll see. You know, I'm sure Project Veritas employees, the rank and file employees, will come out and let everyone know. Is he a bad person? Is he a bad boss to work for? Or is this all just made up? Is this all just a mutiny from a few people at the top trying to convince everyone that James O'Keefe isn't who everyone thought he was? Reportedly, James O'Keefe fired Barry Hinckley and Tom O'Hara as a result of their insubordination. New York Magazine is reporting that Project Veritas' board of directors has put James O'Keefe on paid leave and rehired the turncoats. I have zero doubt that James O'Keefe is a crazy man who is hard to work for, but without James, there would be no PV. Firing him would be the end of Project Veritas. The answer is to build a team who can support James, not undermine him. I'm game. The decision to put James O'Keefe on paid leave seems to have been Daniel Strack, PV's executive director. Strack was unceremoniously pushed out of Goldman Sachs as an MD after just 3 years. And what they're saying about him possibly being hard to work for and everything, I can also believe that. Because like I said, man, you got to be a little bit crazy to just seek truth the way that they have nowadays. Because like I said, people like me, and people like you watching this video, we like to seek truth through conversation. These people are going to extreme lengths to find out the truth and to expose certain corporations and certain narratives and stuff like that. You got to be a little bit crazy to do that because you're going to be ostracized from the rest of society whenever you're exposing people who run the world, you know? So you do have to be a little bit crazy, but I respect them a ton for it. Confirmation and details of board members who are poised to oust James O'Keefe. And here is the thread that we already read. So yeah. This situation's getting wild. Viva Frey tweeted this: if James O'Keefe has indeed been expelled from Project Veritas for no good reason, I think Elon Musk may have just found his new CEO. I don't, like I said, I don't want that to happen, but it would cause a lot of reactions like this right here. Just mad, sad SJWs, which is always fun to watch. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think James O'Keefe will return to Project Veritas? Do you think that Project Veritas is just done for? And do you think that if he doesn't return, will he be the new Twitter CEO or involved in Twitter in some way? I kind of hope not. But let me know what you think in the comments. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And I hope to see you in the next one.